Can you believe it? I got the screen to work. So anyways, enjoy the video, but the screen's working now and new keyboard added to the bill. Garage sale pickup, $5 for this broken Acer Aspire i3 370M processor. No dedicated graphic card, no USB 3.0, but for $5, why the hell not? So in this video, we're gonna go ahead and run it through the emulation test. We're gonna see if we can fix the screen. I'm gonna give you my overall thoughts as far as, is this worth picking up or not? And then I have to share with you this other story because on the same day, I went to a couple of garage sales and I cannot believe what I experienced. And I hope some of you can level with me on this because I was just, even today, this is like 3 or 4 days later, I'm still thinking about what happened. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the computer and then I'll share you the story. So when I first got the computer, I wanted to see if I could get the screen fixed. So this is just removing the keyboard, and the key was already broken. I went ahead and ordered a new keyboard though, because they're only $10 for a new one. So I do have a new keyboard coming. I will be replacing it because I'm going to resell this thing once I get it all working. If you notice that when the video started, there's a little Samsung monitor to the left. I bought that monitor for $5 at a neighboring garage sale. So it's an older Samsung 2 millisecond monitor. Anyways, you take off the keyboard, then you take off these screws. I already took off the screws on the back of the unit. Anyways, and now you can see everything here. And basically, I'm just trying to check the connection for the monitor. If you look online, a lot of these white screens happen because of like a loose cable, or it could actually be the monitor. These monitors are about $70, give or take $60 to $70. So I don't feel like it's worth me buying a new monitor. I'm just going to use the HDMI or VGA out. And yes, experimenting with this, I tried removing the tape, checking the thing. I would really need to check this with a voltmeter and check like the transistors to really diagnose this. And I just don't care that much or want to spend that much time and money on this. $50 to do all that is not worth my time. So I went ahead and got it on the Samsung monitor. Installed a fresh copy of Windows. Formatted their hard drive. And then I initially thought I was going to try to do Launchbox, but I'm actually going to try basically just RetroArch. It would be my way to go on this. All right, we have CPU Z up and running. So the i3 370M socket 989 up to 2.4 gigahertz. All right. 4 gigs of DDR3 RAM. Graphics are Intel Graphics HD Graphics version 2. All right, so not very great. It's right around the Intel Core 2 Duo CPU. Yeah, so, and as you see, compared to like a new computer, but we're doing this for emulation, so it should be fine. So the construction of this laptop is very cheap. It's all plastic, but at the time it had a decent screen and it was a very value-based. They still make the Acer Aspire. Now this one did have a, you can hook an Ethernet cable onto it, and I'm getting decent speeds for how old this computer is and the network card that is included in it. We're about to do a YouTube playback as well. And what I noticed about this machine is it's plenty good for word processing, watching YouTube videos, and web browsing. However, when it comes to games, it really does need a dedicated graphics card, or you need to go up to like an i5 or a way newer i3, but we'll go ahead and check this out right now. So as you can see with the YouTube test, ran great, right? 1080p videos full screen, no problem. Now here is Launchbox, and this is a big box, and you can just see how laggy it is jumping through the menu here. So when it comes to emulation front ends, you have quite a few choices, and Like I said, I wanted this to work, but I just don't think it's quite up to snuff. I would just run like a standalone RetroArch or like put a Basoterra Linux on here to run well. I just think it's just not quite beefy enough. And yes, I checked my power settings. It's on max performance, and it's got 4 gigs of RAM. Like it should. I guess it's just really on that borderline of just not quite powerful enough. So now we're going to go and play NES and then some SNES, and then we're going to go up to some arcade games and Nintendo 64. Moving along from NES Tetris to some SNES 9X, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Moving on, as you see, it runs okay, it runs decent. Moving on to arcade here, a very low level arcade game, main game. No lag whatsoever. But now we move over to like an arcade game like Killer Instinct, and I'll let you be the judge of it. So as you can see, it's not even as powerful as a Raspberry Pi. Moving along to some Nintendo 64, Project 64 actually seemed to run pretty good on these settings, a little lower res, but I felt like it was super playable, which was very surprising to me considering my performance in some of the other games. But then again, you have to count the resolution we're playing at. So here's the story I was waiting to tell you, which was I was garage sailing, and at this one garage sale, this guy literally got there like a minute before I did. And he's inspecting this like custom-made computer. It looks something similar to like this. It wasn't dual graphics cards. It wasn't water-cooled either. This is a bad picture to show you. But yeah, it looked something a little bit more like this. But it didn't have an SSD. And then I can clearly see that it was an EVGA 970 GTX graphics card in there. So I'm thinking, oh, it's kind of older, but like it has this huge Cooler Master aftermarket heatsink on it, and it had a 1,000-watt power supply. And I know there's like a power supply shortage right now, so I was like, man, even just that power supply has got to be worth some money. And he was this guy's like thoroughly inspecting it. I'm like, good for him, and I'm kind of watching over my left eye because I'm kind of interested. And this is also why I wanted to share the story, because like, what is the etiquette of a garage sale? Like, he obviously had it in his hands and he was inspecting it, but he hadn't paid for it yet. So anyways, he's inspecting it. I'm thinking to myself, like, man, that's, I'd probably pay $50 for that, $100 for that, and flip it, no problem, right? And so anyways, he says, well, how much do you want for it? And the thing is, they're like, oh, well, it's my husband's. He's actually asleep right now. He wasn't there. And then there was like the mom's mom, the grandma was there too. And then, the grandma was there, and she started talking. She was I think she was like excited about, having a garage sale. The case actually looked something more like this, but it had a window in it. But it even had a CD-ROM drive in it. It was old school. It's an older computer, I get that. Anyway, she goes, $10. She's like, I don't know, $10? And I couldn't help myself. I like blurted out like like I made this loud noise, like, oh my God. That guy got a deal of a lifetime. So that's where I have to ask, like, should I, like, I'm still kicking myself, and that happened like 4 or 5 days ago. Like, I understand, like, a garage sale is not an auction, but, Yeah, I mean, $10? You know, even if it didn't work, that was worth well over $10. The case was worth $10. Like, oh my God. So anyways, that was my story, was that I missed out on like the deal of a lifetime, but also that this lady sold this computer that, I mean, I was looking at it, you could have sold it for at least 300. You could have just literally put it on Craigslist and sold it for $300-400 that day. Like, it was that good of a deal. But hey, you know, you missed some. But to this video, the same garage sale is actually where I bought that monitor for $5, which wasn't a screaming deal, but you know, they had nice stuff. Everything was well kept. But man, $10. So if that doesn't get you excited to go garage sailing, I don't know what does. But I then started to, you know, there's deals out there. You know, people know certain values of things. I was talking to somebody else recently, and they're telling me how they sell men's white underwear, that there's this huge market for men's white underwear. You know, I'm sure you've all been to YouTube channels, and there's people that buy and flip certain things, and they hold their value better than others. You know, I know people do baseball cards. That's not really my thing. But I knew this computer was worth a lot of money. It would have made a cool video. Earlier in that same garage sale, though, I got this computer that you're watching here for $5. So you just got to keep your eyes peeled, and you know, the deals are out there. And I enjoy, you know, checking out, especially low spec things where you could go onto Amazon right now and pick up this little Acer Aspire i3 or go for an i5. Because you know, technology, as it gets better, the old stuff is still plenty good. And depending on what you want to use it for, it can do a lot of things. So to summarize this video, the Acer Aspire, I don't know, I might be able to get $50 to $100 for that thing. I paid $5. It's plenty good for a flip for me. I enjoyed making the video. It was also kind of eye-opening because I'd never used an i3 before on emulation, and to see that, you know, it probably needs some dedicated graphics card and or a much newer processor. That being said, the i3, i5, i7, there's many. I think we're up to 10th gen now, so, you know, depending on which one you have, do you have a first gen, second gen, third gen? As the gens get better, there are performance increases. But however, I have to argue that Intel is just like, seems like they give you that little bit more, and that's also why AMD's kind of kicking their butt right now. So find out what you're buying, look at the specs. I don't think more RAM and an SSD is the problem here. I really think it's, you know, dedicated graphics card, better processor. But anyways, that's what I think. Let me know what y'all think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.